Introduced in 1987, Megaman didn't take too long to win over our hearts, and was regarded as one of the best Japanese sci-fi video games of all time. Released for the Nintendo Entertainment System, Megaman soon became a cultural phenomenon, and spawned a franchise of at least 50 games with colorful characters and unique story arcs. While Megaman is the titular, most beloved character, fans were also mesmerized by other characters, such as Omega Zero, Sigma, and so on. And today, we'll talk about the top 10 strongest characters of this universe. But before we get started with the video, we have a small request for you. If you like our content, subscribe to us and like the video. It might just be a simple click for you, but it means a lot to us. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started. Duo.exe Anime. Starting off strong with Duo.exe, we have a gigantic alien net-navi who appeared as a major antagonist in some of the seasons. It was revealed that Duo was created on Earth by an ancient civilization who feared for their network and created him in an attempt to maintain it. This civilization soon launched him into space, and his rocket was essentially a comet that could only be perceived by a select few. As time passed, Duo started perceiving his creators and homeworld as evil entities, and he went down an evil path to destroy them all. After destroying Earth, he assumed the identity of a cybernetic god, who embarked on adventures across the cosmos to test out other civilizations. His strength is unparalleled, and he essentially tests out the strengths of entire planets and often destroys them without any effort. He evolved into an emotional net-navi who perceived things in black and white, and he typically refrained from attacking anyone unless they provoked him. He only eliminated planets that were a threat to the universe in his eyes, and he even spared 13 people on Earth and gave them a chance to prove that humanity deserved to live on. Duo is considered to be the most powerful character in the series, and he seemingly has godlike powers that give him an omnipotent status. While he has immense physical strength that allows him to block several incoming attacks without moving an inch, he can also create gigantic viruses to wipe out planets and edit DNA to bestow his subjects with supernatural powers. He also has access to highly advanced technology, as well as the inherent ability to repair any damage caused by his attacks and restore normalcy on a planet in no time. Megaman.exe Hub. Also known as Rockman.exe, Megaman was the titular protagonist of the Megaman Battle Network series. Megaman had quite a tragic story arc, and he even died soon after birth, while his twin brother Lan Hikari lived on. In order to restore him, their father used Hub's data to revive Megaman as a net-navi, and he then worked happily alongside his brother Lan to save the world. While Lan was a mischievous character, Megaman was his complete opposite, and he maintained a polite demeanor. He would often remind Lan to get started on his schoolwork, go out of his way to help with his friends, and even brush off any trouble he had to endure for the sake of his friend's safety. Megaman was about 4 feet 9 inches tall, with indigo biceps and a cyan strip down his sides that finally tipped off with blue boots. He wore yellow shoulder guards and a blue helmet, and he was essentially a customized net-navi with the Hikari family symbol designed on his chest and helmet. He was the ultimate result of the Navi project, wherein Yuichiro Hikari managed to graft a human's DNA and soul into a net-navi, and he was an extremely strong individual. Megaman often used battleships and Navi customizers in addition to a Mega Buster to enhance his attacks. Over time, Megaman went through several updates, such as the Exa Memory program, to gain a large memory bank and a full synchro mode that enabled him to tap into his connection with Lan. Star Force Megaman, Geostellar. Also known as Subaru Hoshikawa, Star Force Megaman was the titular character of Megaman Star Force. While he eventually transforms into Megaman, Geostellar was initially introduced as a lonely 5th grader who seemed to be struggling with the disappearance of his father in space. As the game progresses, Geostellar opens up to his friends and becomes more approachable and outgoing. He finally embraces his new life and doesn't shy away from embarking on adventures, which opens up a whole new world for him. When Taurus took Luna and Zack to the Wave World, Geo followed him and even defeated Taurus in his wave form after fusing with Omega Z's. This process eventually led him to transform into Megaman, and he was characterized by his green visualizer, golden star pendant, and red and yellow clothes. Besides being quite physically strong, Geostellar was also skilled at using high-tech machines and gadgets, and he eventually grew up to be a daring young man, even though he initially hesitated to engage in violence. Cyber Elf X. Also known as Original X, Cyber Elf X had quite an enriching history in the Mega Man Zero series. He was supposed to be X's original version, after his soul was separated from his body, turning him into a cyber elf. In this form, he had an ethereal appearance that can be best described as a hologram that often appeared as transparent and distorted. He also wore a light blue robe and had a ring of data around his head, which made it seem like he was an angel with a halo on his head. He first appeared in Mega Man Zero as a mysterious computer image, and we eventually learned that X sacrificed his own body to seal the Dark Elf away. In this endeavor, X ended up separating his mind from his body, and his fractured mind then split into 4 different parts, leaving his soul with no other option but to turn into a cyber elf. In this form, he could fly around, access cyberspace, and even turn invisible to human beings. While we don't know if X gained any special powers after this transformation, he did exhibit levels of advanced physical strength, even if he had to disappear from time to time to recharge his power. Omega. Introduced as the terrorizing god of destruction, Omega was the main antagonist of Mega Man 03. He was essentially a Reploid who ruled over the rest of his species with the power of a Dark Elf, and Dr. Whale had specifically created him with the intention of ruling over Project El Piso. In this appearance, Omega was a giant Reploid with shining armor, long pink hair, an overflowing coat, sharp claws, and a gigantic beam saber attached to his back. Upon closer look, one could decipher some of the original Zero's features in Omega's body, as he was essentially a replacement of the character with a slightly darker color theme. After Dr. Whale turned him into one of his many servants, Omega submitted to his will and developed animalistic tendencies and a god complex. He would often growl and declare himself as Messiah, and he was convinced that Whale had turned him into an unstoppable force of nature. He also had great respect towards the Dark Elf, who had bestowed him with a power boost and the ability to control all Reploids on Earth. The Dark Elf had further enabled him to fire ring projectiles from his torso and claws, and he was way stronger and faster than his Omega form. He could also perform a range of attacks, such as the Hoop Shot, Omega Laser, and Triple Laser, and he went through a bunch of transformations before he assumed his final form. With each form, he gained a power boost that turned him exponentially invincible, and he could fire double charge waves and even lunge at his opponent with a 7-hit combo by the time he assumed his final form in Mega Man ZX. Sigma. Famously known as the main antagonist of the Mega Man X series, Sigma was created by Dr. Kane, and he once ruled the Maverick Hunters until he was infected with the Maverick virus. In this form, he declared war on human beings and took control over all the rebel Reploids in the world. But his ambitious plan didn't reach great success, as he was often defeated before he could do any real harm. However, this didn't deter Sigma from trying again and again, and he was notorious for coming back from the dead every single time with a new twisted scheme in mind. While he used to be an intelligent leader who looked after his subordinates first, Sigma's personality changed greatly after being infected with the Maverick virus. For starters, he lost all inhibition and started believing that humans were holding the Reploids back. He also had an immense savior complex, and was convinced that his actions would greatly benefit Reploids. Over time, he assumed a more aggressive outlook and started eliminating any weak species in his path. He eventually started neglecting his own physique during his bouts of insanity, and he succumbed to his insanity after he continually destroyed and restored his body to win wars. Despite his unstable mental health, Sigma was at peak physical condition for the entirety of his story arc, and he only grew stronger and stronger with each win. Even after destroying and resurrecting his body on multiple occasions, Sigma managed to retain his physical strength, and it was quite unfortunate that his actions caught up with him mentally. Model W, Whale Ragnarok form. Also known as Model V or the Evil Mega Man, Model W was a biometal in the Mega Man ZX series. In its primary form, Model W was created out of Dr. Whale's soul after his countless attempts to conquer humanity with the help of an orbital satellite cannon called Ragnarok. As Dr. Whale grew desperate, he fused his body with Ragnarok to make sure that they were successful, but Zero stepped up to destroy them before they could do much harm. Unfortunately, Whale's soul still lingered in the destruction of Ragnarok, and a scientist named Albert used it to create Model W, the world's first biometal. In this form, Model W continued to live on as a biometal fragment that resembled Dr. Whale's cone helmet. It was essentially a glob of metal with exposed wires, gemstones, and red lines, all of which combined to form a snake-like Ouroboros. While this biometal was not a physical entity, with the ability to take down an opponent physically, it was extremely strong in the sense that it could mutate with other beings to fire a bunch of energy-based attacks. Using Model W as an Ouroboros, Albert managed to gain the powers of every single being that the model had ever attacked. Over time, this device gained malevolent sentience, and started siphoning off its victim's fear and other such negative emotions to grow stronger and kill them on the spot. Base, Forte. Created by Dr. Wily to imitate Mega Man's design, Base was a robot master who was expected to surpass the titular hero in terms of strength. He's basically introduced as an anti-hero in the original Mega Man series and was inspired to become the most powerful robot in the series. Even though he was Mega Man's rival, they sometimes teamed up with him to take down common opponents, and he was also known for rebelling against Dr. Wily. Over time, he was discarded and replaced by Zero, but he left a lasting legacy as one of the strongest robots in the Mega Man franchise. He was designed in complete contrast to Mega Man, and he had black armor with gold lining, as well as a blue-purple crystal fitted into his chest. He had red eyes and pink retinas, and a Cobra-inspired helmet with yellow fins. He typically appeared as a smug, bad-tempered character who believed that he was the strongest being in the universe. He would often go out of his way to refer to other robots as inferior, and even view them as his competition, but he did show some respect towards humans, as they had helped create him. His arrogance was somewhat justified, as he displayed advanced abilities, such as firing a jet booster, a flying fist attack, and even a rising kick attack, but at the same time, his overconfidence eventually led to his downfall. Napalm Man. Another one of Dr. Wily's creations, Napalm Man was a robot master from Mega Man 5. He was created to protect Dr. Wily's secret factory, and Napalm Man would then spend a lot of time exploring the place in search of weapons that would help him grow stronger. He was quite a weapons enthusiast, and he had all kinds of napalm bomb launchers, missile launchers, and homing missiles concealed within his physique. He was essentially a humanoid robot with a black body, a purple torso, and a giant missile cannon fitted on his head. He was often introduced as a walking weapon, which was quite intimidating for those around him. While he had few friends, Napalm Man was incredibly loyal toward his allies, and he displayed great intellect and diplomacy while dealing with difficult situations. He was quite strong as a result of his impressive inventory of weapons, and his intelligent use of them further made him a force to be reckoned with. Pharaoh Man. Designed as an ancient Egyptian pharaoh with some resemblance to Tutankhamun, Pharaoh Man was a humanoid robot master with yellow armor and white pauldrons. He also had decorative yellow armor on his legs, and he was created by Dr. Cossack in order to function as an investigator robot. Over time, Dr. Wily recruited Dr. Cossack and forced him to enhance Pharaoh Man to give him special abilities, and he was best known for his speed and agility. Moreover, Dr. Cossack had designed him to be an excellent investigator and adventurer, which meant that he was exceptionally strong, durable, and had amazing reflexes that helped him navigate strange terrain. He was also a charismatic leader who took great joy in collecting rare treasures and had over 1,000 Mumira in his service. Among other things, Pharaoh Man had many quirks, and he would often get shy around beautiful women or express great hatred and disdain toward tomb robbers. Besides being extremely powerful, Pharaoh Man is also well equipped with pyramids and other ancient ruins, and it was quite a challenge for players to defeat him, especially when he targeted them with his solar energy charged Pharaoh shot. Marvelous verdict. And with that, we've explored some of the strongest characters in the Mega Man universe, from our titular hero to other characters such as Duo and Omega Zero. This franchise is filled with interesting personalities that display their strength in different ways. We hope you enjoyed watching this video, and we'd love to know your personal favorite Mega Man characters in the comments below. If you like our content, like it and subscribe if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!